The college basketball experience and college football experience on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is presented by WinBet. WinBet is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted same-game parlays to live in-game odds, WinBet is what you need to win. Sign up today. Bet $100. Get a $100 free bet at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/winbet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET. State restrictions apply. We're also brought to you by the SGPN Bold Challenge. Yeah, $250 is up for grabs in cash and also a $250 gift card. All up for grabs exclusively on the good old SGPN app. So, folks, grab that thing and remember to let it ride.
Hey, everybody, Joe Theismann here. You're listening to SGPN. So do this, let it ride.
Yes, yes, yes. Woo-hoo! Welcome to the college football experience, the college basketball experience. There's only a few pregame shows that are covering, of the year. All right, we might be the only one that's sitting here knocking down both basketball and football. It is a loaded slate, folks. If you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, my name is Kobe Swinging Database Dan, a.k.a. Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
I smoke and I drink and I don't have stress and I'm healthy.
Very healthy today. Very healthy today. Right now we got the Fenway Bowl. Get your bets in as this thing's about to kick off. It's a total shit fest with Gary Coombs, interim head coach at Cincinnati, and then Deion Branch, interim head coach who wasn't even part of the staff with the Louisville Cardinals, but he did play and win a Super Bowl with the Patriots. So maybe those Pats fans will come out and support him. I don't think they will, but you never know. Shout out to the chat. We're moving along here. Shout out Landon Renard. That's my guy. Serge, Slick Rick. D-Land Man. D-Land Man. I like that. We're all here. And this is an absolute amazing slate. And, hopefully you have more than one screen because, I do have the benefit of having God's eye. And when you have God's eye, you get the look. I got the Cincinnati Louisville game on downstairs. The TV down below. I like to say downstairs. But look, 9 a.m. You got the Celebration Bowl. Deion Sanders looking to cap off a perfect season with Jackson State before his era in Boulder begins. Taking on North Carolina Central, who's always chippy. You got the NAIA National Championship of Northwestern against Kaiser. That's not an insurance company. That's going on. I think I think that one's on Flow. But then you obviously have the fantastic basketball games to start things off. And I'm referring to Indiana at Kansas. We're less than an hour away. Providence at Seton Hall. We're less than an hour away. Missouri, UCF in Florida. Pretty much a home game. Not a home game, but in the home state. Tipping off within the hour. Wake Forest at Rutgers. Tipping off within the hour. Even Liberty and Bryant tipping off within the hour. The slate is absolutely loaded. Absolutely loaded. And we're going to start talking the biggest games. Then we will we got the FCS playoffs going on. NFL, there's 3 NFL games. The college basketball slate. It might be the best college basketball Saturday we will see the entire year. There's potential for that. Let's hop into the biggest games here. Jackson State, by the way, taking on North Carolina Central Celebration Bowl. Jackson State's laying 14 last I saw. I think you lay the 14. They're going to want to go out with a bang. There might even be a couple players auditioning for life in Boulder. So, or just auditioning for the portal, you know? That game's going to be fun, though. Central, I thought, it seems like everyone's taking Jackson State. Central's not a terrible team, so I could totally see that game working out. But, yeah, I'm still going Jackson State. I think Diaz going to get it done. Ooh, almost a pick on the first play of the game in this Louisville-Cincinnati game. Indiana heads to Kansas. Like I said, this game tips off in 55 minutes. And shout out to this game not being one of those neutral site games, because this is what we like to see. I want to see the college experience. I want to see the place rocking. And it will be. Kansas is laying 5.5 points. I'll lock it up. I'm laying the 5.5 with the Jayhawks. I know they haven't looked dominant this year, but that momentum is a thing. At the Fog. We got a block punt by the Cincinnati Bearcats here. Yeah, I think you lay the 5.5. That game's awesome. Yeah, I see. Is there any value to sprinkle the money line for Central? Are you Central, North Carolina Central? No, I just don't think they have the talent. I think they're a decent football team. Like, if it was not Deion Sanders and they're like some of the other FCS squads. Serge says he's already drinking here. Shout out to Serge. Then we have Providence Seton Hall, and that's one that I locked up as well.
It's easy to see a tide turn.
Providence was an extremely lucky road team a season ago. They lost all their experience minus Jared Bynum. I think Seton Hall is going to cover the 2 in Newark today. This game's awesome. It tips off, in an hour and 23 minutes? Hell yeah. I'm also going to take you to Florida, where I think UCF is being undervalued. I was on them against Ole Miss in Oxford throughout the week. I know Missouri's 9-1, and I think Dennis Gates is a damn good coach. But I think Johnny Dawkins and UCF are a better team and a better roster thus far. And that is why I'm going to lay the 1 with the very Golden Knights of UCF. Let's go. You also have the D2 National Championship happening in college football. The Ferris State Colorado School of Mines game happening in Texas. The slate is loaded. The slate is absolutely fucking loaded. Oh, you might be wondering what other college basketball games could be going on today. 10 o'clock. So just an hour and 58 minutes from now, an hour and 52 minutes from now, Gonzaga heads to Alabama. Yes, it's not in Tuscaloosa, which I'd rather this game be in Tuscaloosa, but this is in the fine state of Alabama. This is going on in Birmingham at the Legacy Arena. This game's on CBS. This game's fantastic. Alabama looks amazing thus far this season. Who was their one loss to? That was to who was their one loss to? UConn. I'm thinking, and Gonzaga, who we had all this preseason hype that the Bulldogs were going to look dominant, returning Strother, Timmy, going out and getting Smith from Chattanooga, but at the end of the day here, I think Gonzaga is going to wake up one of these days. I'm counting on this one. I'm not betting this one, though, I'll be honest. because I do think right now everything that I've seen tells me Bama's the better team. But I'm expecting Gonzaga to wake up one of these games and play a really good game. So I'm going to take the Zags plus the 1.5. That game is absolutely fantastic. Then at 11, so what? Just a little bit under 3 hours for us here on the West. Houston is taking on Virginia. I think this is the game that I circled as the game that I want to see most. This game's awesome. This is in Charlottesville. This place should be rocking. Houston, a road favorite, laying 2.5. I'm gonna ride Tony Bennett and Virginia to find a way to get this thing done. I'm super excited to watch this game. Awesome fucking game. And yeah, so let's do that. I also think there's a ton of, and I'll get to the mid-mate, there's a ton of like solid, great games that are not top 10 matchups. This is a loaded slate, folks. The other big one here, well, there's more big ones. There's a lot more. Later on at noon on the West, 3 on the East, you have in New York City at MSG, North Carolina and Ohio State doing battle. Carolina, last night when I did the show, it was, I believe, at a pick, or I think Carolina -1. Now it is Carolina -2.5. I think you should still take it. I think probably the point where I would switch to Ohio State's probably at 4, maybe even 4.5. I think Carolina's due for it. They're unranked. Ohio State's ranked. Preseason, everyone was all over Carolina, and they haven't looked great this year. And I know Baycott's healthier. Another thing to monitor is Isaiah Likely, or Isaac Likely. The Oklahoma State transfer for Ohio State, I think he is a game time decision, so something to monitor. But even if he's playing, I like Carolina to find a way to get this dub and cover that line. And you think that's done now? No, the slate is absolutely fucking loaded on big time matchups. I want to talk about this game. Well, first, let's talk FCS playoffs here. Montana State, who beat South Dakota State a year ago. So pivotal game. The top seed in the FCS playoffs was South Carolina State. This is in Brookings, South Dakota. The weather high is 9 degrees. But Montana State played for the FCS championship a year ago. If they win this, they'll be back in the FCS championship. But South Dakota State trying to get that rematch with North Dakota State, even though that game was a little. Look, I had North Dakota State, but that was a little suspect last night on that call. I thought that was for sure a fumble, for sure recovered by Incarnate Word. I don't know how the refs have a fucking job today. But the spread is 5.5. It is football weather, damn it. It is. I can't wait to watch it. The spread is 5.5. I'm going to take the Montana State Bobcats. I think it's going to be a close game. Wouldn't be surprised if South Dakota State won this game. But 5.5 points, I think it's a field goal game in the cold. Kicking could be an issue. Gotta love it. Also, obviously, the Colorado School of Mines and Ferris State doing battle. Ferris State, I think, looking for the back-to-back championships here. I'm hoping the School of Mines pulls the upset. I'm just hoping for a good game. That game's going on in Texas. Other big games in college basketball. I got to reference this one as a big game. Most of the world might not know it, but UNLV is 10-0 and undefeated. And they're hosting the San Francisco Dons, who are 8-3, made the NCAA tournament a year ago. And Kevin Kruger, the head coach of UNLV, son of Lon, is doing a fantastic fucking job. This is only year 2 in Vegas. And, hey, UNLV is laying 6.5. I'm taking San Francisco to cover this, but this is a very fucking intriguing matchup. This is a great game. It's a low-key great game. Both teams, you look at the analytics, UNLV, a top 20 defensive team. San Francisco, not that bad either. They're in the top like 120 from a defensive standpoint. Both of them around similar offensive numbers on what they're putting up. But you dive even further into it, you can see the pace is similar. The only thing I would say, San Francisco is kind of just a worse shooting team, but some of that might be the San Francisco's played, I think, a little bit harder of a schedule thus far. It's an awesome game. I'm going to take the 6.5 and the Dons in Vegas. I think this is a game. So, man, these turnovers are flying. And did he drop it? Okay. We also have UCLA, Kentucky, Madison Square Garden. I mean, this fucking lineup is incredible all day. Don't do anything. Tell the wife she's got to go out. Tell the girlfriend. I don't know. Tell whatever. Tell your mom, working on a project. All right. You gotta, I mean, how many great games are going on here? UCLA is laying 1.5. I think the Bruins are going to win this game. I know I'm a little concerned because of the road trip. You went to College Park just the other night. Kentucky seems well rested. But Kentucky, much like Gonzaga, hasn't really looked the part this year. We're just doing that. We're kind of basing it off of name. I feel like every big game we've seen, for the most part, both those teams have looked questionable. UCLA, I think you could kind of say that, but then UCLA recent wins against Oregon and then the win in College Park against Maryland. Kind of. Also, I like their experience on their roster. I'm going to lay the 1.5 with the Bruins. Let's go. Shout out to my guy, Pete Rodriguez. Great fucking guy. Lane Elliott, great guy, and he's right. I mean, we're going to talk about that Florida State game in a second here. Pete's saying we need a 3 or 4 team parlay that combines football and basketball. We can do that. There's a slew of bowl games also going on. Yes, we will get to it all. Give me like 20 minutes. Continue breaking these down. We'll do a parlay. Temple is heading to Oxford, Mississippi to take on Ole Miss. I think this is a low-key good game. The Owls are getting 8.5 points. I mean, I get it. Temple's been completely unpredictable here, but I kind of think Temple has a better roster. Give me the Owls. Let's go. Who is going to win this game? The Owls, baby. You thought the slate's getting a little dry, college basketball? No, we got the fucking holy war going on in Provo, Utah, BYU. Bring your super soaker. This game is awesome. This rivalry is awesome. I don't care if they're playing. I don't care if you're watching this in a fucking game of dodgeball. All right. I want to watch Utah, BYU. They hate each other. It's fantastic. This game is interesting too because Craig Smith's doing an unbelievable job at Utah. Mark Pope and BYU, I thought doing a good job, but I thought this year they'd be a little bit better because so kind of disappointing this year. I know South Dakota, Utah Valley have came into Provo and grabbed dubs. BYU barely hung on to beat Creighton the other night. Utah's laying 2.5. I'm going to take the Utes, but I wouldn't be surprised if I lost. Do not bet like this one if you're betting. I mean, actually, if you're going to watch the game, you might as well bet it. But I'm just saying, wouldn't surprise me if BYU won. This place is electric, especially in these matchups. Oh, I like Landon saying the Jackson State parlay. I do like that. I saw that number jumped up. So Jackson State obviously playing the Celebration Bowl. Deion Sanders' final game, an audition, perhaps, for players to transfer out, whether it's to Colorado or whether it's elsewhere because of the way he's been recruiting. I think they have a lot of motivation to cap off an undefeated season to play for Deion Sanders. I like laying the 14. And then in basketball, what Landon's referring to is they are at Texas Tech getting 18.5 points. Mo Williams is the basketball coach, the former, I don't know, Charlotte Hornet, New Orleans Hornet. He played for a lot of fucking teams, all right? The Cavs. Mo Williams, I think, is doing a solid job with Jackson State. Texas Tech offensively challenged. Fardaz Amik is still not healthy. I like this parlay. Jackson State parlay. Take the 18.5 in Lubbock. Now, we know that place gets lit, but I think they can hang on. They've already played at Michigan. They've already played at some other big schools. I think they can hang on to that number. And then, so I think Texas Tech wins by, I don't know, 14. Jackson State covers that one. And then on the football side of things, I think I do think Central is a little bit better than what the public knows Central to be, but I still believe the talent Jackson State has will prevail. So I will lay the 14 with Jackson State in football. Give me a 35-14 final in the Celebration Bowl. Let's hit this parlay. College basketball. Oh, you think we're just done with just the slate? No. We got Texas A&M at Memphis. Buzz Williams, Penny Hardaway. Intriguing matchup here. The lines bounced around some. I think it opened up at 8.5. Now it's at 6.5. Two teams that very well could be in the NCAA tournament. I mean, Memphis, I fully expect. A&M, bubble team. It's a big game. Now that it's at 6.5, I called this at, I think, a flat 8 last night. I'm still taking A&M. I think it's a game. You got the lawyer battle. the Davidson Wildcats taking on Purdue in Indianapolis. Foster lawyer against his brother. Fletcher lawyer. Fucking great. Give me the Wildcats plus the points in Indianapolis. I know Purdue's number one. They look fantastic all year. But no, these games aren't done. We still have heaters, legit heaters. UConn heads to Butler. Butler's catching 8 points. The numbers came down since I recorded like 6 hours ago. It was at 9. I'm all over Butler plus the points. I think they can win on the money line. I think this is a game. At Hinkle, not a better venue to watch a college basketball game. Check this game out. This is fucking awesome. And by the way, even though I know this was juicier last night, it's still a very juicy play here of what? Getting plus 280 on the Butler Bulldogs. It's going to be a game. Let's go. We also have Richmond and Clemson. Great game. Great matchup. Yes, not as, not blue bloods or teams that have played for national championships like UConn and Butler or UCLA and Kentucky. But Richmond Clemson is a very good college basketball game going on in the ACC there in Greenville, South Carolina. It's not a true home game, but pretty much a home game. 10 minutes away from Clemson. I'm all over Clemson -2 here. I think Richmond, who's been rolling lately, the Spiders have been rolling. I think Clemson is going to get it done here. Lay the 2, folks. We got an old Big 8 matchup happening too. Nebraska, Kansas State. Oh, yeah. And this isn't in Manhattan. It's in the T-Mobile Center. So your fucking cell service is going to be absolutely fucking terrible. But who needs a cell phone when you're watching good college basketball? K-State's laying 4. This line has crept up a little bit. It was at 2.5. I still say we lay the floor. Hoiberg I'm impressed with Nebraska a couple times this year. Wouldn't shock me if they cover this or even win it outright. I'm not going to lock it. I know Moneyline Mac locked up K-State. I think Noah Beanick locked up K-State. But I'm going to lay the 4. Oh, I don't know. I'm not going to lock it, though. I'm sorry. I played the lock music. Is Greenville, South Carolina really an hour away? Super true story. Okay, maybe not 15 minutes. Maybe an hour away. Look, I was there like 20 fucking years ago. All right? All I know is I got fucked up in Greenville, South Carolina. I got fucked up in Clemson. And it seemed like it was a 10-minute thing, but that just might have been the fact that I had a bottle of wild turkey in me. Next up. You think the slate's over? No, fuck you. Tennessee going to Tucson. Fuck yeah, these games are all fantastic. Arizona's laying 3.5. It's a revenge spot. Remember, Arizona went to Knoxville last year. Tennessee destroyed them. I think revenge is happening in the desert. Lock up Arizona minus 3.5. Let's go. The place is going to be absolutely bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. You also have the Chicago series going on. You know, a bunch of games happening in Chicago at the United Center today. One of those being Vanderbilt, NC State. Decent game there. I'm going to lay the 6.5 with NC State. And there's a couple other games like Oklahoma State at Wichita State. Fun game. This place should be rocking too. OK State's laying 4. I kind of went back and forth on this because Wichita's been better than what I thought they were. I think the first week I said, I don't know about Wichita this year. They've gotten better. But I'm going to lay the 4. Oklahoma State's got to win one of these big-time matchups. I feel like they've been on the wrong side of a lot of them. Wyoming takes on Dayton. That's not in Dayton. That's in Chicago, I believe. That's a good game. Dayton's laying 2, but they're beat up. I mean, both these teams have key injuries. I kind of think Maldonado's return for the Cowboys is the difference here. I'm going to take the 2 points in Wyoming. I mean, other Drake, St. Louis, that game's fantastic from a mid-major point of view. St. Louis laying 5. I think you take Drake because Travis Ford, for some reason, never seems to get the full. I just feel like their teams are more talented than their results, if that makes sense. I'm going to take Drake plus 5. There's other great games. All right. There's Stephen F. Austin and Furman. I'm even intrigued by Bradley, Arkansas. I'll give away a lock here. Grambling is catching 18.5 in Blacksburg against Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's really good. Mike Young's team's getting disrespected at being 24th in the nation. However, Grambling is really good too, and I think the line is about 8 points off. Give me Grambling plus 18.5. Let's go. Pete Rodriguez says fading Northern Iowa needs to be part of the show the whole season. I think he might be right. I watched him a couple times. Me and NC Nick were like, whoa, what has happened to this proud program? They play Towson today. Towson, and this line's actually came down overnight here. Towson, I think, is laying 5 now, 5.5, something like that. Towson concerns me because against lesser competition, they seem to be a little bit asleep at the wheel. But I'm with you. Let's lay the 5 with Towson. Let's go. There's so many good games going on. I haven't even keyed in on all the basketball matchups. DePaul taking on Northwestern, little battle of Chicago. My East Carolina Pirates in Greenville, South Carolina, taking on GG Jackson in South Carolina. We're a live dog. I'm just going to say that right there. We're a live dog, baby. But I Liberty and Bryant I find compelling. Wake Forest, Rutgers. I'm assuming Applebee's playing since that line has came down. Something to monitor though is the ankle injury for the Demon Deacons, Tyree Appleby. But let's switch over and pivot to a couple bowl games happening. I touched base on the fact that there are tons of football games going on today. Obviously, you got 3 NFL games. Going to be some snow in Buffalo, but you got the FCS playoffs. You got the Celebration Bowl. You got the NAIA National Championship on Flow Sports. I think that's Flow Sports. Double check that. You got the D2 National Championship, Ferris State, Colorado School of Mines, and you got a shit ton of bowl games. It's a fucking fantastic day. Don't do anything. You got plans, cancel them. Florida's taking on Oregon State in the Las Vegas Bowl. This line has dropped from 10 to 8. There's a shit ton of players out on both these teams. More on Florida, though, than on Oregon State. I'm still on the Gators, I think. I think anything more than a touchdown, I have to take the Gators. I think the Gators have more depth than Oregon State. And when you talk about multiple players being out, I'm not talking 1 or 2. I'm talking like 7 for the Beavers, and for Florida it's like 20. I do understand the motivational side of it, though. Oregon State doesn't get to take on a team like Florida often. They would never do a home and home with them. You can make a case on the motivational side of this. I'm still going to take the Gators plus the points, though, even though maybe they're hungover in Vegas. Washington State, Fresno State, the LA Bowl, the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl. Fresno's laying 4 now. This line's crept up a little bit. Washington State's got both coordinators gone. They took better or other jobs, or what they thought were better jobs. And they have a shit ton of players. Their whole receiving room and like their whole linebacking unit pretty much done. They're out. For that alone, and Jake Haener, wanting to play this game and go out on a positive note, I am going to take Fresno State minus the points, and I'm going to lock it up. Let's go. We also have Rice Southern Miss going on. Lending Tree Bowl. This is in Mobile, Alabama. Southern Miss is laying 6. Rice is on their 4th string quarterback. I know Southern Miss is on their 2nd string quarterback, but the starter got injured a long time ago, so he's practically like a starter now. I'm going to lay the 6 with Southern Miss. Don't feel great about it, but good enough. Good enough about it. Lay the points with the Golden Eagles. SMU's taking on BYU in Albuquerque. No Jaron Hall. I mean, there's like a shit ton of players out for BYU. They're on their 3rd string quarterback. Take it on SMU. No Preston Stone. It's going to be Mordecai. But Rashee Rice, who's one of the best wide receivers in America, he's out, opting out. And a slew of other players too. But here's what I know about BYU. Their fans travel. And that's enough for me. I will take the 4 points and BYU in New Mexico. And that's not a far trip. There's like BYU fans in like St. George or some shit, which is southern Utah. I feel like Albuquerque is not that far from there. Go to Albuquerque for a weekend, get some green chili. Yeah. Give me BYU there. Let's go. Let's go. Final bowl game of the night, North Texas, Boise State. Boise is laying 11.5. North Texas went to the CUSA championship. Said, you know what? We didn't win the championship. Seth Luttrell, their head coach, you're fired. Ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous firing. I wonder about if the team is buying in or not. Phil Bennett, the interim head coach, he's the DC, will be taking over the team. Meanwhile, Boise, I mean, I guess it's in Frisco, so North Texas fans should be able to travel. It's a lot closer than Boise. But Boise's just a better team, and you look at what North Texas does, especially this year with their Chris Winkie 2.0, Austin Une. They run the ball heavy. Well, what does Boise do? Great defensively. Well, in general, they're just a great defensive team, but especially on the line of scrimmage, they shut down the run. I think Boise's going to win this game. I'm going to lay the 11.5 points. Pete Rodriguez saying, live bet alert, Cincinnati, Louisville over. Get in there as they're 0-0 with 2 minutes left in the first quarter. I'll co-sign that. And that's our slate for today. That's our slate. Obviously, there's some NFL games too. And if you really want to get swift, I'll tell you what I'm doing in these NFL games. I'm going with the Vikings. I'm laying the 3.5. I am going with the Ravens +3 in Cleveland. Although I feel like that's a sneaky game. And I'm also laying the points with the Bills in the snow. Let's go. So let's talk about a parlay here. Let's talk about a parlay. Well, actually, should we talk a little bit about some of the other matchups in college basketball? Because I feel like there's some other games that I didn't key in on. Liberty and Bryant is one. that I feel like is a very good matchup. Wouldn't be surprised if you saw both these teams in March dancing. Liberty's laying 6.5. That's just too many points now. This was at 4 last night, and I went with the Flames. At 6.5, I will go with the Bryant Bulldogs. But this game is fascinating to me because you have Liberty's pace. Remember, they've always been kind of a slow, grinded out team. I would say like the past 4 or 5 years. They're 301st in pace in college basketball. Meanwhile, you have the other side of that. The Bryant Bulldogs are first in the nation in pace. Unfortunately, Peter Kiss isn't there anymore because he was fucking the Ric Flair of college basketball and absolutely phenomenal to watch. But they got Doug Edert, the St. Peter's transfer, the guy who lit up the Kentucky Wildcats a season ago in the NCAA tournament. This is just a fun game. When you look at all the analytics here, it's a fun matchup. I'm going to take Bryant now at 6.5. I think you got to take Bryant. So I'll play my Benedict music, my Benedict Dant music. And Lane Elliott's in the chat talking about this Florida State game. And I think he's got a good point. St. John's is heading down to Tallahassee to take on Florida State. Actually, this is not in Tallahassee. This is in like Miami or some shit. The Orange Bowl Classic. This line's at 6, right? 6.5. And it is puzzling. You would think, okay, wait, St. John's laying 6.5. They've looked really good all year. Wait, they're taking on Florida State, who's looked like dog shit all year. I think if I was setting this line, it'd probably be St. John's minus 10, 11, maybe even 12. But at 6.5, why? Why is it 6.5? Well, Florida State's been playing better. They've been playing a little bit better, in my opinion. They're 3-9. And another thing is Mike Anderson teams traditionally haven't been great on the road. So I'm buying in, Lane. Give me Florida State plus the points. Sprinkle some on the money line at plus 230. Let's go. Sam Houston State's taking on Texas State. That's one of my favorite games of the day. The line kind of smells a little bit to me because I think Sam Houston State's a lot better than Texas State. Sam Houston State's laying 3. I say fuck the smell. Let's go. Let's go. I mean, there's a lot of cool games going on right now. I mean, I'm fascinated. They got DePaul, Northwestern, little Chicago, Big Ten, Big East matchup. DePaul's beaten up, but they're getting 8.5 points. Northwestern's been kind of a good story to watch this college basketball season. I think Northwestern's going to win the game. However, I'm going to take the points. East Carolina's getting, 1.5, 2 in Greenville, South Carolina. Let's go. Let's fucking go. I'm fascinated by a couple other mid-major games here. I'm fascinated to watch Indiana State and Duquesne. And this game's hilarious right now. There's like 30 turnovers in this game, and we're only one quarter in. Indiana State and Duquesne. 2 mid-majors that are way ahead of schedule of where I thought they would be. 2 mid-majors that I wouldn't be surprised if we saw dancing. When you think about the Atlantic 10, I think everyone thought, okay, VCU might be able to win this thing. Loyola Chicago could win this thing. I would say after that they had, Davidson maybe. And St. Louis though in that mix. But they've all been disappointing. And meanwhile, Duquesne's been a surprise team, the Dukes in Pittsburgh there. They've been a complete surprise team. And I would put them in the mix to potentially win the A10. I really would. And then you have Indiana State. The Missouri Valley, you're saying, okay, they lose Loyola Chicago, who's been a total disappointment so far this season. They are getting better, though. But, okay, so who is it then? Drake's got to be the preseason favorite then, right? But Belmont comes in with strong basketball culture. Maybe they could win it. Missouri State looked pretty damn good last year, but, man, they've been struggling this year. Oh, wow, Louisville opens things up. My point is that the conference, Southern Illinois is pretty solid, but Indiana State looking really good in the MVC. I kind of think thus far, if we were to stop the season right now, I think they look like the best team in the MVC. So this is an interesting matchup as Duquesne is laying 1 in Pittsburgh. I'm going to ride with the Missouri Valley here. The A-10's been disappointing. I'm going to take Indiana State on the road in Pittsburgh there. Yeah, but just a lot of these games, all these, I find a lot of these games fast. How about North Texas and UMass? That game. North Texas is laying 4. It was at 2, but Noah Fernandez is out. I like laying the points with North Texas, even though I know Frank Martin. How about them in the A-10? They can surprise. I mean, they are surprising. Cornell, Big Red in the Ivy League, they're 7-2, just coming off a close loss at Miami. They go to Syracuse, New York to take on Boeheim squad. Syracuse laying 9. I think you take the points with the Big Red there. That's a compelling game to me. Toledo and Marshall, that's a good one. Marshall's laying 2.5 at home. Marshall's been red hot at home this year. I'm going to lay the 2.5 with the Thundering Herd based on that. But then you have Tulane, George Mason in Chicago. Interesting game. Mason's getting 5 right now. I like going with Mason there. Villanova's laying 11.5 against St. Joe's. A little battle of Philly. I like Nova to stick it to St. Joe's today. Lay the big number. Bradley's getting 11 against Arkansas. That one's interesting because I like Bradley. That's another one in the MVC, though, that's right there neck and neck, I think, with Indiana State. However, I think the style of play there, I know Arkansas's got some injuries, but I think the style of play that the Razorbacks play, I think they can, and the fact that it's in Fayetteville, I'll lay the points with Arkansas there. Lipscomb's taking on Michigan. They're getting 14. Just a little too much for me. Give me Lipscomb plus 14, even though they fucked me the past couple times. I have wagered on them. Stephen F. Austin Furman. Great mid-major matchup going on. Furman's laying 6. Furman is going to bounce back. They just got House and Raleigh against NC State. I think they bounce back and stick it to the Lumberjacks. Lay the 6. Look, there's so many fucking good games. Pepperdine, Grand Canyon's good. I even think this Portland Pilots at Oregon Ducks game is sneaky good. I take Portland plus the 9.5 if you're going to wager on that. There's great games everywhere. All right, let's go. Parlays. Obviously, we like that Jackson State parlay we mentioned. How about this parlay? How about a blue blood special? Kansas minus 5.5. Right? We stay away from Gonzaga, Alabama. Right? But I like Arizona minus 3.5 in Tucson. So we take those two and we parlay it. Oh, no. You know what? We can even add another one. I think we go Nova minus 11.5 against St. Joe's. The blue blood special. And if you want to turn this into a round robin, maybe you add North Carolina or UCLA. I like it. My favorite plays, I love Grambling getting that big number in Blacksburg. I know Blacksburg's been lit. Cornell, Florida State for the chat. Oh, I like that. Is this a moneyline parlay? My problem with the Cornell one, though, Lane, is that a legendary player that Jim Boeheim coached with from Syracuse passed away at an early age due to cancer. And tragic magic is a thing. So I'm a little bit afraid of the money line there. Florida State, I'm with you. I think they could win that thing on the money line. I could think, you want money line dogs? Let's talk about money line dogs. Obviously in the FCS, I think Montana State very capable of winning that on the money line. In college basketball, moneyline dogs. Wake Forest could beat Rutgers. I really think so. Rutgers, great defensive team. I know the Rack is a great place to play. It gets lit. I think Wake Forest could win that game though, and they're getting what? Although I mean, Rutgers has had some tough breaks lately, but Wake Forest plus 375 on the money line. I think they could win that game. I will scoot down to. I'm trying to get you value here. Obviously, I like Virginia, but that's only 2.5 points. Let's go. By the way, I like this one as a favorite here. Let's lock up Charlotte minus 9.5 at Monmouth. Lay the 9.5. Moneyline dogs though. Florida State 6.5 point dogs against St. John's. Wouldn't shock me. Wouldn't shock me one bit. I will take you to another that I feel pretty decent about. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if George Mason beats Tulane. I don't love that one though, because Mason's been so fucking inconsistent. If you want to, Sprays, is that a fact? I see Sprays in the chat, because why has the number gone from 11.5 to 9? I'm assuming Appleby's playing because I know he was a game time decision. I assume with that line movement, that means he was playing. Can we double check that? Anyone out there? Do we know for sure that Appleby is out? Because obviously that would change my opinion of the pick as well. Grambling is what, plus 1,500. You want to talk about a long shot money line play? I mean, Grambling beat Colorado. They beat Vanderbilt. They're capable. They're capable of. I mean, I know Virginia Tech's probably better than both those teams. Yeah, they are better than both those teams. But wouldn't shock me if this was a game with 3 minutes left. Other dogs that could hit. I think Temple. I think Temple can win at Ole Miss. Get an 8.5. I like that angle. I think Temple's actually the better roster for the most part. I think. Let me double check the injury situation on that. Yeah, they got a couple guys out, but yeah, Landon Renard says Appleby is warming up. Looks like he's good to go. Yeah, and I thought the line reflected that. Last night when I capped that game was 11.5. Wake up today, it's at 9. I think that line is reflecting that. I say lock up the Demon Deeks. Let's go. Other dogs, big time dogs that I think could hit. Texas A&M. I think Texas A&M Memphis is going to be a game. Texas A&M is a little bit unpredictable this season, but I think this one, the way that they play defense, I wouldn't be surprised if they could make this one a game. A little bit of a rock fight. Wouldn't shock me if they got that dub. And then Butler. I'm all over the Butler Bulldogs, actually. I know UConn's looked amazing, but this is Hinkle, and I think we're going to see the return of Jalen Thomas tonight. I know he's a game time decision, but I saw him tweet something out a couple days ago. I think you might see Ali tonight, and you might see this team rocking. At Hinkle, at least you're getting 9. Bet the 9. I love that play. Sprinkle some on the money line. Let's go. Other live dogs. Portland Pilots, maybe. I mean, Oregon struggled with UC Riverside the other night. They already lost to UC Irvine. Portland's a good team. Wouldn't shock me. Would not shock me. Other than that, I think that's pretty much where I stand. Wichita wouldn't surprise me either. They're 4.5 point dogs, 5 point dogs in Wichita. Wouldn't shock me, even though I'm going Cowboys on that one. All right. Guys, what else do we talk about here? We got 10 minutes left. What are we doing? What are we doing here? How about a parlay of this? How about we go money line parlay, Butler? I see the Cornell angle, Pete, but I am a little concerned about the Tragic Magic situation. A little concerned about the Tragic Magic situation there. I think we fuck around with Butler plus what did I say it was? Is that Let me double check. Shout out to Chad. 280. 280 on the money line right now for the Butler Bulldogs. In Hinkle against a top 5 team. It just makes sense. I think we can parlay. Let's parlay that. Money line special here. Then let's take the Temple Owls at plus 295 to win in Oxford against Ole Miss. That's a big payout. Let's have some fun there. Let's fucking have some fun there. And if you want to round robin this thing, add Florida State to that one. Add Florida State to the mix. Yes. All right. Any questions in the chat? Because if not, then I'm going to get the fuck out of here and prep for just a glorious Saturday. Just a fucking glorious Saturday. This is the best Saturday of the year as far as like all sports included. Man. Let's go. Fire away any questions in the chat. I'll stick around for a minute or two here. As we got bowl games, we got championship games, D2 championship, NAIA championship, FCS playoff games, great college basketball games, Blue Bloods. You got UCLA, Kentucky. You got Ohio State, North Carolina. You got Gonzaga, Bama. What? You got UVA, Houston. You got Indiana heading to Kansas. You got Tennessee heading to Arizona. This is the greatest fucking Saturday ever. All right. Let's go. All right, folks. I'm going to get the fuck out of here. I need to go get a coffee before this game starts because I am fucking tired. All right, folks. This is the college basketball experience. We appreciate you. We really do. Appreciate all you guys in the chat. Shout out to Landon. Shout out to Pete. All these great guys that have been fucking with me for a long time. It's really cool to see you guys, and it's really cool to meet you guys too. Hopefully we can grab a beer again at some point. Shout out to the whole chat, Lane Elliott, everybody. You make it cool as fuck. All right. Have a wonderful day, and look, fire away some tweets during the games or hop in the Discord. Let's talk college hoops, college football. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Let's go. All right. Let's fucking go. This is the college football and basketball experience. We're fucking loaded today with games. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
When I spit my darts, you get ripped apart. Save the cookie cutter mutter for 106 apart. Cause of your liquor will I sip your heart. You never dumb it down, dog. If you're smart, I throw out a couple of lines. Fighters are quick to cross. Fishy, you on a dick to lie. Piss you off, it goes. Tits and bras, lips and jaws. I use my common sense to see the bitch and all. Good thing you got the market cornered. Kids and malls. Grip the bag carpet as you slip and fall off. Another career spear. Thanks for trying to block. You get an A for effort and an effort. Shut the fuck up. Here's a hint. Put down the mic, you catch a glimpse. And keep them eyes wide when you see me. Mics, I seize them. So when you see him, you got a good reason to look. Catch a